From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Now at 5, the Valero Refinery shutdown begins in Benicia, and officials have to figure out how to fill a massive fiscal hole.
It's just surprising and disappointing that they're leaving.
Short term, we're going to have some bumps in the road for sure. But long term, the things that make Benicia great are still here.
Plus, while fans are waiting for Super Bowl 60 to kick off, a beloved Santa Clara vendor is getting kicked out of his home turf. What's being done to support his small business?
I guess they'll play. The billionaires will make their money. Well, you don't get to play in the big game. You're sitting the big game out.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. We begin in Benicia, where the Valero Refinery begins its shutdown today. The closure is a major loss for the Solano County city. Hundreds have lost their jobs, and with Valero being the Benicia's largest private employer, there is a question of how the city will move forward.
Mayor there, Steve Young, says that Valero represents almost $8 million in annual tax revenue. That's about 12% of the city's $60 million annual budget. So how's the town going to fill that gap? Don Lynn has got that story.
It's the beginning of the end. The Valero Refinery in Benicia notified the Air District that starting on Saturday, they will begin shutting down some of the refinery equipment. It's a phased approach, with the full shutdown of refinery operations expected by April.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day for our city and our neighbors all having to get new jobs in other places and so forth. It's going to affect the economy. And but Benicia will survive.
Jeff Burkhart's son-in-law works for Valero and will leave the company at the end of February.
I hate to see him go. I'm sure it's going to affect a lot of our services and parks.
Mayor Steve Young says Valero is Benicia's biggest private employer, with about 420 full-time workers. The company also brings in hundreds of outside workers each year for various maintenance projects.
Hotels and restaurants that have benefited from Valero's presence here, as well as a number of nonprofits and community sports teams and the like who got donations from Valero over the years.
Mayor Young says the refinery shutdown will directly cost the city close to $8 million each year, about 12% of the city's general fund. They're now looking at budget cuts, and everything is on the table.
These are discussions that we're going to have with the community, with the labor groups, with employees, and with the rest of the council.
While the economic consequences will likely be severe, many environmentalists are happy with the closure, given the air quality violations over the years.
We will have less asthma, we will have less respiratory diseases, likely. At least that's what the data shows.
For many residents, it's a love-hate relationship. They love the economic benefits, but hate the environmental impacts.
Short term, we're going to have some bumps in the road for sure. But long term, the things that make Benicia great are still here. Our location, our small town atmosphere.
Jeff agrees and is optimistic. The city he's lived in for 30 years will survive this.
I just hope everything will be okay. I just feel certain that we'll be able to weather this storm.
Valero and the governor's office announced earlier this month that once refinery operations completely shut down, they will use part of the facility to store refined gasoline imported from outside of the Bay Area.
In other news, ICE protests continued throughout San Francisco today. Folks at Ocean Beach made their message clear, forming a human banner calling for ICE to be abolished. Others headed to the Embarcadero to join a memorial bike ride for those shot and killed by federal agents in Minneapolis. The ride was held in solidarity with the cycling community in Minneapolis, who also organized a memorial ride today. Kevin Coe was there. He's got the latest.
It's a backpack, this is a regular.
Boxes of yellow vests passed out to thousands of local cyclists with 4 words on the back. Peaceful observer, don't shoot.
Really letting people know that what the rhetoric that they're hearing of we are domestic terrorists, we are not. We have a very peaceful message to protect our own neighbors.
Dan Briack is part of a Wednesday night ride group with cyclists across Minneapolis. Gathering donations and working with local businesses, Dan was able to produce hundreds of these new yellow safety vests handed out to cyclists at Washburn Fair Oaks Park in Minneapolis. Thousands gathering together for a memorial bike ride in honor of Alex Preddy, who was an avid cyclist. Cyclists trekked for about 9 miles, starting at Washburn Park, before riding to Preddy's memorial on Nicollet, where he was shot and killed.
The Minnesota bike community is one of the most amazing bike communities in the whole nation. You can see it. We're binding together, bonding, bringing the community with love, peace, protest.
This memorial ride was organized by Angry Catfish, a bike shop where Preddy was a customer. Then it spread across the world, with more than 200 memorial rides planned from San Francisco to New York to several European countries. What do you hope the world can realize when they see this?
They can see that we can stand together peacefully and do the right thing.
The ride also stopped at the memorial of Renee Good, then ended at the VA hospital where Preddy cared for veterans as an ICU nurse.
You got one?
For Dan Briack, he says he hopes today helps more people open their eyes and hopefully put aside differences.
I'm a registered Republican. I've been a centrist, and I have no tolerance for this. I have no tolerance for this. I've leaned further and further to the left, the more angry I get at this particular administration and the people that don't speak up. At this point, silence is complicity. If you're a Republican and you are serving your people, you have to look at what's going on and stand up to it.
As protests continue to push against immigration enforcement efforts, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie is doubling down on his commitment to make sure that Super Bowl 60 celebrations will be safe for everybody.
Our public safety teams, SFPD, the Sheriff's Office, the Fire Department, EMTs, and paramedics are deployed across the city. They are ready to respond at a moment's notice. And I want to state clearly to all of you watching and listening, if you see SFPD on the street, they are there to keep you safe, not to assist with immigration enforcement.
The mayor's comments come as the Bay Area prepares for Super Bowl 60. Earlier today, dozens of volunteers, the Bay Area Host Committee, and the NFL Green Team came together to clean up parts of the San Francisco Bay shoreline in Palo Alto. The family-friendly event focused on protecting the tidal marsh wetlands. Meantime, cleanup efforts meant to protect fans at Levi Stadium are coming with some unintended consequences. The NFL and the city of Santa Clara have established a clean zone, which has displaced sidewalk vendors in the area. Our John Ramos spoke to one vendor about being pushed out.
The Super Bowl is usually seen as a huge economic boon to an area, but not everyone profits by it. It depends on how big you are and whether you are close enough to the stadium to fall within the grasp of the NFL.
We're getting pretty close on these.
Howard Gibbons knows a good hot dog when he sees it.
But the oil's coming out. Oh,
That's a good one.
just what we eat dogs for.
Known as the hot dog dude of Santa Clara, he takes pride in his product.
Freshly chopped onions. None of that fake bag stuff.
But for Howard, the success of his business has always depended on three things: location, location, location. For the last 12 years, his hot dog cart has called this underpass home, but unfortunately, it's right next to the home of Super Bowl 60.
They shut down all vendors. All street vendors are not allowed within what they call their clean zone. Why it's called a clean zone, I don't know. I didn't know I was dirty. I thought I was a pretty clean guy.
On this day, he was hired for a private event, providing lunch at a local adult education center. But as of last Thursday, he's been kicked out of his normal location, serving commuters walking to the VTA train station. And for the last 3 weeks, he's lost about half his business as the VTA commuter parking lot was closed for the exclusive use of the NFL. He finds it ironic since for the last 8 years, he says the city has been trying to attract vendors to the area.
And now they're being closed down for this event. And it's kind of like, well, you got them out of the closet, you got them to come out and be clean, and then you tell them, well, you don't get to play in the big game. You're sitting the big game out.
This is not the city wanting you out. This is the NFL.
NFL, because NFL takes over that area.
Howard says when the Super Bowl comes to town, the NFL basically owns the area around the stadium, including banning any advertising within the clean zone.
Me putting this up during Super Bowl would be call the FBI. We got an advertisement violator here.
But Howard is luckier than most. The Bay Area Host Committee has offered to subsidize some of his losses for the week before and after the game. His daughter, Wendy Rogers, says it helps that he's so well connected in the community.
Well, he's pretty well known. I mean, he knows the mayor, he knows everybody. He's always going to the city hall meetings. You know, I try to call him sometimes and he's like, I can't talk, I'm in a meeting. He's at a city hall meeting, letting them know and, you know, fighting for what's right.
What's happening to all the other vendors doesn't feel right to Howard, especially with all the talk about the economic boost of hosting the Super Bowl.
I guess they'll play. The billionaires will make their money, and they'll leave a mess, and you all have a nice day.
Well, coming up, a triple shooting near San Francisco's Jefferson Square Park turns deadly. The latest on the search for suspects.
And coming up in the forecast, certainly looks like a good storm out there in the Pacific, but on closer inspection, that rain's going a little too far north. We're not getting it. It is going to be cloudy. We'll talk about that for the rest of your weekend. And there was a pretty nasty pileup on California's 99 today in Tulare. About 59 cars piled up. No fatalities, but it's a lot of Thule fog in the Central Valley. I'll show you what that looked like and what it could look like again tomorrow in the forecast, and if we might see any fog here at home. Coming up next.
Thousands of people marched over the Golden Gate Bridge showing solidarity for protesters in Iran. They lined up, forming a human chain on the bridge's walkway. Demonstrators say thousands of peaceful protesters have been killed by the regime. They are demanding change and justice.
We are all human, regardless of what country we are from. We are all human, and that's something that resonates, I think, with all of us, especially who lives here in the United States. We have freedom. And we know the worth of freedom, so we want that for our country.
Organizers say they had a similar protest on the Golden Gate Bridge 4 years ago.
And an update on a story we brought you as breaking news last night. One miner is dead, 2 others hospitalized after a triple shooting in San Francisco. It happened just after 5 in the evening near Golden Gate Avenue and Laguna Street. Police found 3 juveniles suffering from gunshot wounds. They were taken to the hospital. 1 later died. In a statement, the mayor said that SFPD have arrested suspects in that shooting.
All right, turning our attention to the forecast. You can see the storm track out here, all the clouds, and everything's going up to Canada and Seattle. We're not getting any of it. But look at us today. In fact, if we come in for a close-up look, this is 8 hours of satellite. Watch the last 8 hours and you're going to see the Thule fog filling in the Central Valley. You see it there from the morning? High clouds are moving, Thule fog sitting perfectly still. I put a locator on there down in the San Joaquin Valley community of Tulare. Down in Tulare County this morning, there actually was so much fog. The visibility was so difficult that there was a pretty significant pileup of cars down here. There's about 59 cars piled up. We're going to have more on that coming up in the 6 o'clock newscast. Thankfully, no fatalities. But there were some injuries. About 10 people had to go to the hospital. But if you look at how widespread that fog was down there today, this is the time of year when this can happen. It is a notorious risk. Let's look at tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to show you what the fog could look like here at home in the Bay tomorrow. But for tomorrow morning, we're seeing the same pattern. Thule fog's going to fill in almost entirely. The problem with forecasting this for us is there's a deck of high clouds that obscures the view, so I can get a little bit better clarity on this, and we can go a little more specific in terms of what the fog might look like for us here tomorrow. We'll use the high-resolution forecast. This would be the most detailed and accurate way of depicting what the marine layer or the fog coming in from the Central Valley could look like. We're going to stop it right there at 4:30 because we've got an opening in the high clouds. So we get a little bit of a patch of lower clouds here tomorrow morning in the San Joaquin Valley, and we'll probably also have some of it up here for the inland East Bay. Concord, Martinez, Walnut Creek, you guys will probably wake up to a little bit of it. Shouldn't last long. It should not be anywhere near the kind of impact that we saw in Tulare today. Most of this should be off the ground. It won't actually be fog on the road. Whereas in the Central Valley, it actually is fog on the road, and that, as we saw today, can lead to an entirely different kind of outcome. All right, let's take a look at where we'll be on here for tomorrow morning's lows. Temperatures have been real nice, if you haven't noticed. We are notably warmer in the morning. You can see the temperatures from Monterey going all the way north. Everyone's staying in the 40s. The only places I have on here in the 30s are 3 of them: Livermore, Petaluma, and Santa Rosa. We take a look at tomorrow's daytime highs. These are also just as nice. A lot of mid to upper 60s staying with us through the remainder of this forecast. Even some low 70s, which we did today in San Jose. Let's get into the 7-day forecast. Nothing's changing. The only thing that will change here is perhaps a subtle warm up by the time we get into like the middle of next week. And you see the clouds there on Sunday. That's that system going too far north tomorrow. We just see high clouds, no rain. Not the next 7 days, probably longer.
Berkeley held Hat Day as a way of saying goodbye to a Telegraph Avenue staple. The Berkeley Hat Company will close their doors for good tonight after 50 years in business. The owner says she appreciates the love from the Berkeley community. Berkeley Hat Company will continue their retirement sale until closing time tonight, where customers could get 40% off the remaining inventory. Yeah. Well, that's it for us. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock tonight. The CBS Weekend News is next.